This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so guys, so we started with SAP HANA. HANA stands for, I'm just going into the very basics of HANA. So HANA stands for High Performance Analytic Appliance. Uh, so what do you mean by an appliance? A hardware integrated with software is an appliance. Means SAP HANA system is physically present. Present. It is like a hardware embedded with software. And you know that SAP being an software organization, so it took some help of some companies which are like hardware partners of SAP in building SAP HANA. So Dell, IBM, Cisco, Fujitsu, and HP. These are the hardware partners. Okay, the entire software is built by SAP, but the hardware, like the networks, okay, the memory chips. Okay, so you know, right, for building a database, there we need a lot of stuff. So the hardware partners of SAP in building SAP HANA, these five companies. And then I just shown you like HANA is an in-memory database, basically an in-memory database where data will be stored in the RAM itself. Any database you take, guys, it has got RAM and disk, right? Okay, so in general, disk is like a permanent storage where you store your entire information, and the entire processing of data happens under RAM. Okay, but when it comes to SAP HANA, HANA is an in-memory database. Data will be stored and processed under RAM, which will make HANA a quick database. Okay. So now, what makes HANA so quick? So, okay, let's speak about HANA. Guys, SAP HANA was designed very recently. So, if you see the world's four leading databases in the world right now, like Oracle, DB2, MS SQL, and SAP HANA, right? So DB2 IBM's database, MS SQL Microsoft's database, and HANA being an SAP database. So these are the four leading database in the universe right now. Okay. So whereas Oracle, DB2, they were designed long back, but HANA is a very recent add-on. It's hardly came into market in 2012. Okay. But actually, frankly speaking, though, so though it came into market in 2011 and 12, but it was not a hit at that time. So they made some amendments. Okay, they relaunched this HANA in 2013-14. Okay, so this time it's like a huge hit. Okay, so so as SAP is coming with their own database in the early, like, okay, the very late stage, because already by the time SAP launched HANA, Oracle DB2, this already has captured the entire market. Okay, so by the time HANA was launched, the market is already captured. So now what SAP has to do, it has to go to the companies and it has to ask the companies to replace the database from Oracle to HANA. Okay, because I already told you, right, these ERP, SAP ERP applications like ECC and BW, they can be operated on any database in the universe. Okay. So what SAP did was, so SAP, when they launched HANA, they launched it as a next generation database. Okay, so what is the difference between a generation, or what is the driving factor for a generation? It's always the speed, okay, accuracy, adaptability. These are the three key factors which drives a generation. Okay, so what SAP is saying is SAP HANA is very quick when you compare with the other traditional databases. Okay, HANA is so quick when you compare with the traditional database. So that what happens, your operation, if your database is quick, what happens, and your operations will be quick. Ultimate simple. If your database is quick, your operations will be quick. If your operations quick, okay, your customer will be super happy. I already told you, right? Right now we are living in a generation where the patience levels are very low. Everyone like to get the things done very quickly. Am I correct? Okay. So generally, elder people and they have a lot of patience, and when you compare with us, frankly speaking, so with, okay, with a lot of innovations happening which are making the man's life very easy. So in one way, they're making the man lazy and also impatient. If your Wi-Fi is if your Wi-Fi is not working for 10 minutes, you'll be frustrated like hell. Am I correct? Your electricity, if you don't have an electricity in your house for 1 hour, so you don't know what to do. Okay, if you can't check your phone for 1 hour, so generally what happens is you want the things to be done very quickly. Right now we're living in a generation where there is a need for speed completely. So what SAP is actually capturing that point. SAP is saying, okay, SAP HANA is a very quick database. So that operations in HANA will be very, very quick when you compare with your other competitor databases like Oracle or DB2. So obviously the customers will go with HANA because of its quickness, its adaptability and everything. So SAP is saying HANA is the next generation database which is very quick when you compare with other databases. So that your operations will be quick, and your analytics will be quick, your reports will be quick, which makes your end user, which makes your business users, or which makes your customers very happy. Right? Am I correct? So for a company, and customer satisfaction is the biggest driving factor, right? The major factor which they take into consideration is customer satisfaction, and one of the major driving factors for customer satisfaction is speed. At what speed you deliver. Okay, and HANA is very quick when you compare with other databases. So now let's come into the developer perspective, guys. Okay, that is like a business perspective. That is like a customer perspective. So whatever I say now, this is like a sales. This is what they said for selling the product. But now let's come into the developer perspective. So what makes HANA so quick? Now you should know, being a developer. So what are the features we have in SAP HANA which makes our database a very quick one? There are 6 features which makes HANA so quick, and 6 features, not one or two. So there are 6 factors which drives your quickness. So first one is two-tier architecture. Okay. Second, in-memory database, in-memory storage. Third, MPP, massive parallel processing. So fourth, column store database. Fifth, auto compression, and sixth, auto partitioning. So these are the 6 factors which makes HANA so quick. So we'll go one by one. So today we focus majorly on the architecture part of SAP HANA. So the two-tier architecture. So then tomorrow I'll go into columnar storage, parallel processing, etc. One by one, slowly we'll go. So for the first 3 days, we'll focus majorly on the features of SAP HANA. And then on session 4, we'll log into the HANA Studio and we'll start working with SAP HANA. Okay. Just a minute, please. Okay. So now let's go into the two-tier architecture of SAP HANA. So SAP HANA architecture itself is a biggest advantage for SAP HANA. Clear, right? Clear so far, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Others? Chandrasekhar, Sandeep, clear?
Clear, Satya, clear.
Okay, so let's go into the HANA's architecture. SAP HANA architecture. So generally, if you see your SAP system architectures, guys, they are like 3-layered architectures. Okay. So SAP architecture is always a 3-layered architecture. You have application layer, presentation layer, application layer, and database layer. So whatever the customers or end users see, that's our presentation layer. The place where developers work or code gets generated is an application layer, and the place where data gets stored is a database layer. So this is a 3-tier architecture we have in general. If you see the ECC architecture, web or mobile applications will be the presentation layer because the transactions happen here. ECC system will be the application layer. where all FI, SD, HR, all the modules integrated into ECC. We work with ECC, and the entire data will be stored in its database. And ECC will have some finance tables, sales tables, and data will be stored in the tables of the database. Same with BI also. If you see the BI presentation layer, it will be like some reporting tools. Okay, so that will be the presentation layer. Just a minute, please. Okay, so if you go with the BI architecture, BW architecture, so presentation layer is your what we say reporting portal. Okay, BI is your application layer, and data will be stored in its database. The maximum right now. Okay, most of the database, most of the scenarios, the database for SAP BI is always a HANA database. So this is the architecture of your ECC and BI systems, right? So we work as a developer on ECC BI systems. When you go with SAP HANA, okay, HANA has got two-tier architecture, guys. We have a presentation layer on HANA, and we simply have a, okay, so presentation layer and HANA system. So you see HANA is a database, I agree, but actually HANA is a system, guys. It's not a pure database actually. Okay, HANA is a system having an inbuilt application layer under database. HANA is a system actually which is having an inbuilt application layer under a database. So I can say HANA is like database DB plus AL application layer. So it is having an inbuilt application layer under database. So what happens is, so that's one of the main reasons why the developer starts working on HANA. So being a BA consultant, you never work on a database, but now we're moving into HANA. So we should have some application layer, right? So HANA is a system which is having an inbuilt application layer under database. That's the reason why the developers start working on HANA. So now the code is pushed into the database because application layer under a database, having an application layer under database means now the code or the data intensive logic is pushed into the database. Okay, so by having an inbuilt application layer under the database, so what happens is it will reduce your processing time. I'll tell you, for suppose you've executed any report on BI, so what happens, that report, generally the report is always a virtual object. You don't have any data, so it will hit your BW system and it will try to access the data from its objects like InfoCubes or DSOs. But InfoCube is a BI object, I agree to that fact. Okay, but InfoCube also doesn't store the data. InfoCube has got some tables in the database. Data will be read from the database. So if any user come and execute a report, it will hit the application layer. Application layer will start reading the data from database. Okay, so get the data into the application layer. It will read the data from, sorry, it will read the data from database, get the data into the application layer. So transform the data according to your report logic and show the data into the output. I repeat, if any user come and click on a report or execute a report, it will hit the application layer. Application layer will read the data from the database. So there will be some time elapsed while reading the data into the from database into the application layer, and then the transformations happen in the application layer and data will be shown. So this is like a four-way movement happens. Hit application layer to database, database to application layer again, and then to presentation layer. So four-way movement of data happens. So out of which some 30% of your processing time, I don't say 60 or 70, so it's 25 to 30% of your processing time is elapsed while you're moving the data between application and database layers. Okay, so suppose you click on reports, it took some, okay, I say like it took some 50 seconds to show the data. 50 seconds. So out of the 50 seconds, so some Okay, 15 to 20 seconds. Okay, I say like 10 to 15 seconds will be elapsed while moving the data between application and database layers. But when it comes to SAP HANA, okay, guys, generally if any user come and click on a report on HANA, here the application layer is inbuilt under a database. So there is no movement of data between the application and database layers. Was one of the biggest advantages with SAP HANA. So that's one of the reasons why HANA modeling is very quick. That's one of the reasons why SAP HANA is so quick, having an inbuilt application layer under a database. So there is no movement of data between the application. There is no calling of data between application and database layers. So one big advantage. Second advantage is like your BI is an ABAP server. BW, ECC, these two are ABAP servers. Okay. So whereas database is an SQL server always. So movement of data from SQL to ABAP server is all will always take time because there should be some code change happens. But when it comes to SAP HANA, so application layer and database both are SQL servers, and there is no movement of data as well. Okay, which makes HANA so quick. Okay, one of the reasons why SAP HANA is so quick is too quick is because of its two-tier architecture rather than having a three-tier. Okay, so now it moved the architecture into a two-tier architecture. You might ask me a question, sir. Does SAP didn't try this option earlier? Okay, yes, SAP tried a two-tier architecture option in 19 in 20 and in 21 20 2001 or 2002 itself. SAP tried the two-tier architecture. At that time, what they tried was they tried moving the database into the application layer. They tried to move the database into the application layer. So then application layer at that time the infrastructure was right, 20 years back, and you don't have this much infrastructure. The infrastructure I was unable to support the database and application layer all at one place. So that's the reason they split it. But this time they made a reverse engineering and they made a reverse. They pushed the application layer into the database. This time they made a reverse in SAP HANA by pushing the application layer into the database. Okay. So now you please don't have a misconception saying that HANA is just a database which is used for storing the data. HANA is actually a system having an inbuilt application layer under database. Okay, clear? Everyone clear so far?
Sir, application layer can be customized or it is fixed.
Application layer అంటేనే customized. You can create a lot of objects in the application layer.
అంటే అది విజిబుల్ అయినా సార్, అది విజిబుల్ ఉంటుందా?
See, application layer into the place where you work is application layer, guys. Simple.
అంటే హనా స్టూడియోలో వర్క్ చేస్తాం కదా, అదే అప్లికేషన్ లేయరా?
See, Hana Studio is like a visualization platform for your application layer. If you're working, if you're creating some objects, that's an application layer. Okay, if you're creating something, guys, it's an application layer because the developers can work at the application layer. Okay, developers always work at the application layer. So this HANA's application layer is you can visualize that application layer using a studio, using some tool. Like for suppose, guys, you want to access Facebook in your in your laptop, you need some platform where you can access, right? So you'll have a web browser like Google Chrome or Firefox or something, or Microsoft Edge. There are some web browsers. You can using these web browsers you can access that Facebook. The same manner, if you want to work with your HANA system, so you need some platform to work, right? The platform is nothing but a studio.
ఓకే.
Okay, right. Others clear so far?
Yeah, sir, clear.
Guys, anyone? So there are some people from different languages present. So please, posting some question, put it in English.
Yes, Satya.
Okay. So So this is your architecture for SAP HANA. Okay. So generally, if you know now, so I just told you like HANA is a two-tier architecture having an inbuilt application layer under a database layer, and this application layer. Okay, so now I just
So, sir,
yes. Okay, so HANA is a system having its own inbuilt application layer under database layer. Okay, and this application layer can handle both OLTP operations and as well as it can handle both OLAP operations. Okay, it can handle same ECC related operations, and this application layer can handle both BI kind of operations, so OLAP operations, which can be performed using SAP BW. Okay, so handling the BW, handling the OLAP operations. Okay, so we call it as HANA modeling. Okay, so handling the OLTP operations part of HANA. So your application layer can handle both OLTP and OLAP operations. Okay, so handling OLTP, it can handle both OLTP and OLEP. So handling the OLEP operations, we call it as HANA modeling. So as part of HANA modeling, so we can design some attribute views, analytic views, calculation views, and CDS. Okay, so these are some objects which are part of HANA modeling. I'll go in depth very clear about them. Okay, so that is about so handling the OLEP application. We call it as HANA modeling. And then what are the models we create? So we have to show in form of a graphical reports, right? The users, and this reporting can be on any tool. Frankly, same on top of BI, we can use any sort of reporting tool, right? Okay, it can be business objects, SAP BO, it can be SAP Analytics Cloud, it can be Power BI, it can be Tableau, it can be Click. You can use any kind of reporting tool on top of HANA models. But preferably being so a lot of SAP clients, they choose either business objects or analytics cloud, so which is the front end reporting tools. Okay. So generally, HANA is a database with application. Application can handle both OLTP and OLTP operations. It can handle the OLTP operations, and so we call handling the OLTP part. We call it as HANA native development. Okay, so under this HANA development can be done using two languages. If you've done it using SQL, we call it as native development. If you create some applications in HANA OLTP part using ABAP, we call it as non-native development or ABAP on HANA. Okay. So this is not our part and this is nowhere related because we are coming as a BI consultants. So we will majorly focus on the OLTP application layer of HANA. Okay. We focus only on this area. We never focus on this OLTP application layer part of HANA. Okay. So this is majorly okay ABAP, okay Fiori. So these kind of consultants focus on the OLTP application layer part of HANA. Okay. So being a BI consultant, being an analyst, we always focus on the modeling and report building part of SAP HANA. Okay. So you cannot be an end-to-end HANA consultant. And HANA is not one particular domain guys where you can learn end-to-end. HANA is actually a product. Okay. So there are a lot of different types of consultants for this product actually. Okay. So ABAPers like HANA development people. So we have basis people coming into HANA as a HANA administrators. So BI people comes to HANA as a HANA modelers. Okay, we focus majorly on the modeling aspects of SAP HANA. Okay, so and then So, for suppose now you got a HANA as a database and OLAP application. So still the business is running. So where the business runs in SAP, guys, the business might be running in ECC or some non-SAP applications. From SAP or non-SAP applications, we can extract data into HANA database, guys. We can physically extract the data into HANA database. Okay. So we got some tools for extracting the data. So they are nothing but SLT, okay, BODS, and Smart Data Access. Okay, these are the three different ETL tools. Okay, three different tools to extract data from SAP or non-SAP applications into SAP HANA database. Okay, clear everyone? Clear so far?
Yes,
Same
sir.
guys, you have the same three phases under HANA. In BI, we have three phases, right? Extraction, modeling, and reporting. If you observe carefully, HANA also got same three phases. Extracting data from SAP or non-SAP applications into HANA database using SLT or BODS. And here we use external tools. Maybe from ECC to BI, we don't have external tools. But from SAP to non-SAP applications into HANA, we have some external tools like SLT and BODS. I'll cover these tools and very extensively. Okay, almost like 5 to 6 hours we focus on SLT and BODS. 5 hours on SLT, 5 hours on BODS, like that. Okay, so using different tools, we can extract data from SAP or non-SAP applications into HANA database. So these are the applications, these are the tools we got for that. Okay, so getting data from SAP or non-SAP applications into HANA database using SLT or BODS, we call it as extraction part of HANA. We call it as data provisioning, but still it's extraction. And once you have the data in the, so it's like a table replication and you get the tables as it is into HANA database. So once you have the data in the HANA, what do? You start modeling the data. You start converting the data according to analysis requirements or according to your report requirements. So that's what we call it as modeling. So in BW, we call it as BI modeling, and in HANA, we call it as HANA modeling. That's the only difference. So converting the data according to your analysis requirements, that's modeling. So in BI for modeling, we have DSOs, data store objects, and info cubes, info objects. We have info objects, info cubes, DSOs for modeling in BI. But in HANA, we got different kind of objects like analytic views, calculation views. So these are the objects we use for modeling in SAP HANA. Okay, and then so we'll create reports on top of BI objects. Same way we can create reports on top of HANA models also. Same. We got three phases under SAP HANA: extraction, modeling, and reporting. Okay, guys, here so far.
Yes, sir.
And then this is like okay. Here the tools we use, the things we use will be different, but the concept is same. Okay, the way BI operates and the way HANA operates, both are the same. But HANA is a bit advanced when you compare with normal core BW modeling. So we focus on this way. We are not going to focus on this part of HANA. We're going to focus in this way. So where we extract different tables from SAP or non-SAP systems into HANA database. Then we create models using on top of those tables using analytic calculation use. And then we consume that models into the reports. Okay.
Sir. Hello. Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sir, when HANA already has application layer, then why do we need SAP? We can directly extract the data from the source.
Why we need BW? You saying that?
Yeah, we can directly extract the data from sources like we did flat file extraction or from XML file like that. We can directly extract it from the sources. Then why do we need SAP here?
Business data can be extracted from file. but you don't maintain the entire business data in a file, right? Business data is always maintained in SAP or non-SAP systems. You cannot have a finance application in a file. Right, we need an ECC, right, to maintain the entire finance data. See, this is one way, guys. Getting data from ECC to BI and modeling in BI, that's one way. There is another way. SAP is giving you another way of modeling. You can extract the data. You can bypass BI. By bypassing the BI system, you can straight away extract the data from ECC to HANA and straight away create the models in HANA and use it for reporting. So this is one way. Some companies prefer this. Okay, most of the companies get the data from ECC to BI model and then reports, and they use HANA for a database. Okay, and also some companies, so they are doing this way where we extract data from SAP to HANA straight away and we do the modeling and reporting on HANA. And you guys, you're looking
Is
for a
the
job.
question why we need BW? That's the question, right? Is it right, Satya? If I
Yes,
understand the
but
question.
better I make the comparison at later stage because you don't know the
Yeah.
entire capabilities of HANA.
Yeah.
Know the capabilities of both the systems, BW and HANA, then I'll make a comparison. So which is better in which scenarios? So guys, I'll tell you. So last two of my projects. So we used both BW modeling, it's B4 modeling, and also we used HANA modeling. So some areas means majorly sales, finance, they use B4, and for HR, especially HR level of reporting, they exclusively used HANA modeling. I'll discuss clearly. So which scenarios BW modeling will have an advantage, okay, and in which scenarios HANA modeling will have an advantage. Okay, but for that you should know the capabilities of both the systems. If you have an understanding on capabilities of BW and if you have an complete understanding on capabilities of HANA, then I can make a comparison. So the comparison session was also there. So that's part, it's like 25th or 26th session where I make a clear-cut comparison between BI and HANA systems. In which scenarios we use BI, in which scenarios we use HANA. But as of now, SAP is giving you two choices for a company. SAP is providing two choices for as part of modeling. So one choice is use BW for modeling, okay, and second choice is straight away bypass BW and get the data directly into HANA database and create the models in the database itself. One way is you get the data from ECC to BI, you build the models in BI and store the data in HANA database. Other way is bypass BI, straight away get the data from ECC to HANA and build the models in the HANA itself. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Please call.
Sir,
Please dive.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, HANA system runs on it runs on every like any other OS, or it has any specified OS for the HANA system.
It runs on SUSE Linux operating system.
Okay, only it runs on Linux.
Yes. You go to any business application, they all runs on Linux platforms. So nobody likes to run the business applications on Windows platforms.
Okay.
The operating system for SAP HANA is SUSE Linux. But it's none of our business because we are an analyst, guys. Think like an analyst. Always think about the requirements, modeling, reporting, these kind of stuff rather than servers, databases, okay, hardware. Don't think about a hardware, don't think about a server, don't think about an operating system. We have a basis team, okay, to take care of all that stuff. And so we are analysts, and I'm repeating the point again and again. Think like an analytics guy. Think about the business, think about how the company is operating, how their finance is working, how their sales is working, how to create a reports for their sales operations and finance. If you think in this perspective always, you want to be a better BI or HANA consultant, okay, think like an analyst. Never think like a database guy or a server guy.
Okay, sir.
Nobody asked you a question on operating system.
Sir, one more query actually. Now we deal with SQL in HANA, right?
Hmm.
And I heard that R also is used in HANA. Will we
Yeah, we have an R
go through it or
integration.
pardon?
We do have an R integration with HANA.
Will we
Frankly
deal
speaking,
in the course?
right. So we can create an R objects in HANA, but frankly speaking, I never used it.
In real time scenarios, R
Real
won't be
time
useful.
Indian.
Like no one will use.
I worked on HANA for 4 years. I never came across a scenario where we need an R integration. I never come across this scenario.
Okay. Okay, sir. Please carry on.
Yeah, please copy this diagram and let me know once you're done. So HANA is basically only first 3 days you get to know the architectures and something. I don't have a PPT for HANA, so please copy this. Only this. If you don't have a notes, you can take a snapshot at least. You guys done?
Yeah, I'm done.
So generally, this HANA also has two versions, or I say two types. So So you have, so the first one we call it as enterprise version. I say it is enterprise HANA, or some people call it as uh, native HANA as well. Native HANA is a negative word and I should not use it. Okay, enterprise HANA. And second one is like an S4 HANA suite. Okay, so it has got two versions of HANA, enterprise version and S4. Okay, so enterprise HANA, or we can also call it as native HANA. So guys, when SAP built HANA, okay, they were not sure it will be a success or a failure. So what they did was, okay, so they built only the OLAP application layer of HANA. They built HANA with only analytics capabilities. Okay, so they are not sure about their it will be hit or a flop, so they're not sure how it will work. So they designed a product. So they designed HANA with only analytic capabilities. So means when your version is an enterprise version, or if your HANA is like an enterprise HANA, the business still runs. Okay, you can't run the business in HANA. The business still runs in the, if it is SAP application ECC, or if it is like the business still runs in SAP ECC or non-SAP applications. From there, you extract the data into the HANA database. Then we use HANA majorly for modeling capabilities. Okay, majorly for modeling, we used to create models and then we used to create reports. So this is how the neat enterprise HANA used to work. So once this modeling was a huge hit in HANA, so they SAP what they did was they tried building the OLTP application layer also. Okay, so the thought of having the OLTP application layer also as part of HANA means that, okay, so initially they built HANA only with the BI capabilities. Once it is a success, so then so they started building this OLTP application layer into HANA, means the ECC capabilities. Okay, so they moved FICO, means generally in ECC, the finance module, we call it as FICO, right? Finance and controlling. They moved FICO into HANA. Okay, HANA's OLTP application layer. And right now we're calling it as simple finance, guys. We call it as simple finance, SFIN. Anytime simple finance. FICO moved into HANA, it became simple finance. SD and MM moved into HANA, it became simple logistics. Okay, same. So they already moved some more applications like production into HANA, plants into HANA. So they tried. Okay, now they're moving their entire functional modules like FI, SD, MM, okay, PP, PM. So these are all modules they're trying to move out of ECC and they're trying to integrate their entire modules, functional modules into the app OLTP application layer of HANA. Okay, they're integrating all their functional models into OLTP application layer. What means now they're trying to move. So SAP already did this. So now SAP has moved their entire business applications into HANA. So means now the business and analytics both runs on the same system. The business and analytics both operate on the same system. So this entire suite where we can run the entire business as well as analytics. So we call the suite as an S4 HANA system. We have two versions. Enterprise HANA, the business still runs in SAP or non-SAP applications. We simply extract the business data and we do the modeling and reporting. And we use HANA mostly like a BW system. So when it comes to S4 HANA, we use HANA like a combination of ECC plus BI. And we integrated even the ECC capabilities into HANA. Okay, and we're calling it as S4 HANA system. Okay, so in S4 HANA system, so we'll have simple finance. FICO has been moved in from ECC to S4 HANA. We call it as simple finance. So SD and MM moved into HANA. We calling it as simple logistics. So maybe by 2025, SAP is going with a roadmap. By 2025, so they're gonna stop supporting ECC. Say 2025, but it will happen by 2030. Maybe in the next 5-6 years, you can see all the companies will move their entire business applications into S4HANA. They will reduce the dependency on ECC, and maybe after 5 to 6 years, you can see ECC getting scrapped down completely. Okay. So once you have the business still directly running in SAP HANA, S4 HANA, so now the data will be stored in its tables. On top of those tables, you'll start creating the models here itself. Okay, and then now there is no physical extraction of data from other systems, because now the data will be now the transactions happen on this data will be directly stored in its tables. On top of these tables, you'll start creating the models. Okay, so these kind of scenarios we call it as embedded analytics in S4 HANA. Okay, so these are the two versions of SAP HANA. We have enterprise version or native HANA version, where you extract the data from other systems and we start creating models. And S4 HANA is like a thing where the business will start straight away start running in HANA system. And now HANA will get the ECC capabilities. So it will have finance, SD. So now guys, S4 HANA, a lot of consultants work on S4 HANA, not only BI consultants. So FI people also has to migrate. FICO people migrate into simple finance of S4 HANA. SD and MM people will migrate into simple logistics of S4 HANA. Same with production. ABAPers will move as HANA developers. Basis people will move into HANA as a HANA administrators. BI people will move into HANA as a HANA modelers. Okay. So HANA is like an end-to-end product, and it's not like one domain where you can do all the aspects of SAP HANA. Okay. So everyone will have their own designed role. So our major role is modeling the data, modeling and reporting the data of HANA. Okay. Clear everyone? Someone might be thinking, okay, S4 HANA is different, so we cannot work on S4 HANA, this kind of, so please get them out of your brain. So guys, our work doesn't change much in enterprise HANA or S4 HANA, because so the way we model the data in S4 HANA or the way we model the data in enterprise HANA, both are almost same, 90% same. There is some 10% difference. Okay, but the way the modeling runs in native and S4 HANA, it's almost 90% same. Okay, clear everyone? Clear so far? Enterprise HANA and S4 HANA, the basic difference. Just discussing only the basic difference.
Clear for me.
Excuse me,
Right.
sir.
Right.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, S4 HANA, whatever the data like tables or everything will be um, directly we can access, or we should have any like permissions or like any prerequisites.
We can directly access them. Once you're in S4, even you are in native HANA, you can access the tables, right?
Those tables directly they will be visible in like catalog folder. They will be directly there.
So I'll show you how we see the tables in S4. So not through catalogs, it's in a different style.
Okay.
Okay, so we have got some cluster tables. I'll speak about the cluster tables. Okay. So right now we just ran out of time, so I stop here. So this is about native and S4. So in the next class, what I discuss is I'll focus more on the columnar storage of HANA, how it works, parallel processing, so the remaining aspects of HANA. So at least you got a basic understanding, right? How what is the architecture of SAP HANA, and what is the difference between enterprise and S4. And I'll go in depth, guys. Once I go into the sections, I'll go into them very in depth. But as of now, so being a first day, I cannot go more in depth into S4 and enterprise. It will confuse you straight away. Okay, so I don't want to make more confusions. Just one thing I can say: in enterprise HANA, no business runs in HANA. We simply use it for modeling and reporting purpose. In S4, the business will run in HANA, so the data will be posted here straight away, and you get and use those tables directly for modeling and reporting. But our activity, being a BI consultant, our activity doesn't change whether you are working on an enterprise HANA or an S4 version. There will be some changes, I'm not denying that, but in 90% the work we do is same. Okay, here everyone.
Yeah, clear.
Right. So I stop here for today. So in the next class, we focus on the columnar storage and this, what do we say, parallel processing concepts of HANA. And so it's like a day 3. On day 4, we'll try to log into the HANA Studio and we'll start working on the HANA tables and everything. Okay. So yeah, thank you all. Have a nice day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you so much.